Greetings, greetings, greetings. You are now tuned into the vault. Trust Christian own nothing, control everything. Just want to thank you for tuning in live, listening to replay. Always appreciate everybody that tunes in live, listens in the replay. Always appreciate that. Definitely want to do this episode today. This is the vault, episode 398, DIY trust documents. Definitely want to do this episode. This is something that really most people reach out to the vault. Some people, quite a few people, probably would say if at least a 50% of the people reach out have already been sold a trust document. They're in some type of public trust document and they're not sure. You got many people that even reach out from the public side that'll say, oh, it's a trust and I'm having to deal with accounting and I'm acting as a trustee for it. So for that reason, I'm already in trusteeship, I'm already in the public trust. I'm looking to be private. And this is the issue is these DIY trust documents. Some people end up creating a trust document themselves. They get it from the internet. We rarely hear somebody come on the line and they'll say, "Oh, I went to the law library." You hear quite a few people say, "Oh, well, I was sold a document by this person and they passed away, or this person doesn't do training." You some type of lawyer on the bigger end, sold them some type of document. They're not, sure what to do. So you get a lot of DIY trust documents. When you get a lot of DIY trust documents, what you're getting is you're getting a lot of coming to the vault. There is a proprietary process. We do have open enrollment for trustee training right now. I do want to mention that we actually have planned out our next workshop. We are doing a next workshop with Trust the Vault. We're going to be doing it with Cornell Trader. We're going to be doing that coming up here soon in the next 90 days. So be on the lookout for the flyer. Please feel free to email over Christian at trustchristian.com. We'll get you the flyer. We already have pretty much planned out the date in August. We're just finalizing some small details, and then we'll have everything posted here within the next week. So people can get into the loop of getting to the next workshop. It'll be a big workshop. Definitely going for hundreds of people in the room. We're gonna open it up actually as a public workshop. Have one of our mentors there. Kind of have more of a smooth public run real quick, just because of the nature of the environment and nature of the room and nature of the people and things of that nature. So DIY trust documents. These are the things where you go to the websites for the authorities for these things and you say, oh, let me see who's really in control of what's legal, what's not legal, what's considered to have some type of standing in law. You don't want to just be surfing the internet having something that doesn't have legal standing, something you can't have a lawyer stand there and defend in court. You want to be able to have a lawyer be able to hear for different aspects of what's going on in the business or the entity. Um, you know, you don't know everything. You gotta have a team, so why not have a lawyer that is familiar with those aspects of law, whatever laws is it pertaining to, and things of that nature. It's good to have those people around. Um, and so we just wanted to talk about that today because when we get the DIY trust documents, you don't hear a lot of people saying that their lawyer crafted them unless they're at the higher ends. Usually we'll get the higher end people that have more money. They use lawyer, some type of you know they've had some type of uh, professional, quote unquote, that they've worked with previously, and they feel like they might be in the dark. They may have fallen out of loop with the professional for years. So now they're trying to get back in a loop with whatever they're working on. Now they see identify the difference between public and private because they're identifying the differences between public and private. They're saying, okay, well, they know that they've been given something that's public, but they want to move more into a private position. They see that there may be some more advantages in different positions, and you see this across the board whether they have money or if they don't have quote unquote a lot of money. Is they're still along that line of thought of, okay, I've seen something public, but I want to do something private. And you see the biggest difference there. DIY trust documents. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay. Always appreciate everybody. People come on the line, they say, "Oh, I gotta trust," but then when we go to who's the trustees, who's the beneficiaries, when we talk about, where was the trust created? Was it created in the state? Oh man, is this the public trust that was created in the state, or is this the private trust that's created in the state? Because private trusts aren't created in states. Because if it's created in the state, remember, it's legislated trust on the public side, public consultation. I mean, public side. So when you talk about state and public are both the same thing. So when we talk about, okay, once again, these are the different things that we want to know. You know, you know, there are elements to contracts that people cannot explain because contracts are contract makes the law. So if contract makes the law, then that means we're looking at a situation where not only contract makes the law, so the contract that's written is the law in and of itself. Let there be a law that it sits and utilizes because contracts do utilize law, contract law. Contract law is a specific style of law. But there are elements to the contract that construct the framework in which law will be applied to it. So we hear these different things and we say, okay, well, okay, who's supposed to craft these contracts up? You would think that the individual could craft them up. But it's just one of those things, we've seen people throughout the years. Oh, we're going to craft the contract up. We're going to put together some trust document. You're going to put together some trust document. You think you're the smartest person in the room. These people think they're the smartest people in the room, and they don't have a legal background. They don't have an international law, a comparative law background to know how to go from one jurisdiction to the next jurisdiction, of not being able to have someone that would be a professional to help you, quote unquote, in the beginning, or help the individuals in the beginning. So they say, oh, I'm going to just go on the internet or wherever they're going to go. DIY trust documents. Are these things good for you? Clearly they're not. Somebody just drafts them up. Have fun. Have at it. You know, what's wrong with going to a wealth or an estate manager and obtaining one of these contracts? Obtaining contracts, that's what they are. Why not go obtain those contracts? Because the range and the price range on them are called. So what's the price range of a trust document? Well, a trust document can range from almost pennies, zero, the internet for free, to thousands of dollars, to $3,000, to $1,500, to $3,000, to $5,000, to, you can get some people pushing you to $10,000. And then you can, guess what? You can find in the marketplace where people are selling trust documents for $55,000, for $50,000. Yes, they're selling the document itself for $50,000. And these are people that say, if you do, and they're pulling up in Ferraris, they're pulling up in Lamborghinis. The lawyers, the people that are running that operation, they're literally telling you, if you don't have 50 large ones, don't talk to them. It's not wrong that they're telling you that. They're telling you don't even waste their time to get on the phone unless it's 50,000. Oh wow. Well, I don't have the 50. Or do you have the 50? People think, oh, I'm not going to go into the private, for the low low. For less than $30,000? Haven't you got to think about your tax liability you paid up until this point in your life. That's what you got to think about. You got to think about that. Especially because we get a range of people. We don't get the 18-year-olders. Maybe they listen. We appreciate you. But if you're 18-year-old, that's great. We've had 18-year-olds go through the trustee training. We've had 19-year-olds go through trustee training. We've had children go through the trustee training with their parents. It's a training program for families. So things that people really don't believe in for retirement and estate planning and principles of building wealth. People say, "Oh, I need more control." You do need more control over your wealth. That control, own that to control everything. Trust Christian. That's what it comes down to. You gotta trust Christian, own that to control everything. From 20 people that are usually around 25, that's where we've got a majority of people from 25 and up. And these people have paid into things and done things. They've made investments. They've done different things, and they say private education. I need to invest in my private education because investing in your private education puts you in a position where you have the education. Now you're informed. You have a true what they call financial education. Everybody wants to talk about getting a financial education, but how you gonna get a financial education when everybody in the public's telling you something different? And the private is the same thing. They're not telling you just to go out and buy real estate. They're not telling you that. They talk about that as an asset class, but they're not telling you that. If anything, they're telling you to build a family business. It could be intellectual property. It could be real property. Intellectual property that the family has that they have to protect. That's why they're not giving out that information, ladies and gentlemen. That's why this information is not given out because it's private. The private families don't want individuals to know on the public side, so people on the public side have to do the DIY. You have to do it yourself. Well, because you're not in a family. You weren't born in a family where you have to have had this information. What do you need wealth building information for? Did your mom and dad pass you? Are they planning on passing you along anything? Did your grandparents pass you along anything? Did your great grandparents pass you along anything? These are the questions that have to be asked. Why? Because so many people want to be in the space, but what's the need of being in the space when you're not really the paid to Pied Piper? Your generation's deep. Do you want to say your generation's in a hole? You're not generations in a hole. Oh man, I'm behind. So many people coming online. Oh man, I'm behind. I need to get it together. I'm the only person in my family. This is the classic line. You ready? This is you. Is this you? Type into the chat. When you listen to this on a replay and you hear this one moment, are you the only person in your family that's really making it happen? Generational wealth? Immediately? That you know? Type it into the chat. So people can read this historically. So they can see, oh man, my family didn't leave me a trust document, so I had to come up with the family trust document myself. I had to go out and get the private education myself. That's what you had to do. And it's okay. But when you're going out and obtaining the information, are you letting the people that are good at what they do be good at what they do? Are you sourcing information? See, when you're in the private, you source information. We're not going to be biased towards a platform. Oh, because this one's red and this one's blue. We're global. So when you talk about private, you're global. DIY trust documents. When you say you're global, you're able to go into different jurisdictions. That's why you got to have a team of lawyers around you. That's why you got to have lawyers around you. That's why you got to be able to find lawyers that you can say, hey, you know what? I'm looking to be in an international jurisdiction. Can you help with that? Yes or no? But those are few and far in between, huh? Oh man, trust Christian Revolt, I really want to be in contact with these people, but I got so much going on. So many people got so much going on. So how are you too busy to be the first to manage the family wealth? How are you too busy? If you're too busy, what makes you think the next generation isn't going to be too busy? And guess what? If you're not doing your job, what makes you think the next generation is going to do their job? See, it's real easy to see how the situation is going to go. Now you see why people don't build wealth from one generation to the next. Because some generation has to stand up and set the precedent. They have to put the principle in place so families can live off the interest of the person that put in to the family estate. See, this is what people come to the family. This is what people come to the vote and say, "Oh man, we don't know how much money to put into the family estate right away." You don't know how much to put into the family estate right away. You don't put in what you got. Be the first principle. It's bragging rights, baby. It's bragging rights to see who could put into the family estate, and it could be around 3 and 4 generations later, 5 generations later, 6 generations later, 7 generations later. It's a pride moment here now. 15 generations later. How do you live like that? 15 generations later. You don't think the world's going to go through 15 generations from now? And even if they are, where's your family bloodline going to be? DIY trust documents. Are they going to be living off the shabby trust documents that people put together? Or are they going to live off, we got lawyers that been around, a law firm that's been around for 300 years. Oh, really? You with a law firm that's been around for 100 years? You think they got some international experience when they've been around for 100 years? Are you contacting firms that have 100 years of experience? Oh man, I gotta contact them in London. I gotta contact them maybe in Hong Kong. I gotta contact this firm possibly in Singapore. Man, I gotta get up. Man, that time was odd. The time was odd, but I call these people. These are the American people. They're living over in these other countries and they're helping Americans do business in international jurisdictions, and they know all about trust and they know all about a X, Y, and Z trust. And that's how they're doing it. That's how things are getting done internationally. When you're in that position. Bahamas was a red flag. All these places were supposed to be red flags, right? Right. So why is it that the Cayman still Bermuda still has one of the largest registrations for yachts in the world? Why do these places still have the largest what are these the largest registrations for banks in the world? Why do they have those registrations there? They have banks set up in those countries. Not the regular big ones you see in the United States and all these other regular. Oh, they say I got an international bank account. So you have an international bank account, but do you have an international trust bank account? Because see, are you worried about having access to the American money and the American money getting shut down? Are you focused on having a card that works in any country, regardless of it being an American company? But see, when we talk to the trustees and we say, hey, talk to the big banks, do they talk to the big banks? Or are they out here talking to union? What the heck are you going to do with a credit union? You're supposed to be in a private trust. How are you going to be in a private trust document? It's not public, right? Because it supposedly meant it was private, right? Not public because you did it yourself. If it was public, they always try to say, well, if it was public, that means that the lawyer wrote it. That if it was public, that means that the public is legislative, right? So if it's DIY, then it was supposed to be private, right? But if it was private, what you doing? You got an international situation going on. You would know that entity, if it's private, is superior to the credit union. Credit union is some public company. You say his credit unions are private. They're communal banks. Oh, it's not FDIC insured. They got a different type of insurance. They're moving differently, right? Because they got credit union type of laws and stuff of that nature. They're a financial intermediary, financial institution. Is the trust a financial institution? Are you running a financial institution? Do you got your so-called through the trust? Oh man, I got the crypto going through the trust. I got all this crypto going through the trust. I'm making all this money in my crypto account, and then I got it running through the trust because I got all this money as the crypto. Right. You got all the money going through the crypto. You got all this money going through the trust. But guess what? We get on the phone all the time. We talk to people all the time from the crypto environment. And guess what? Most of them are not in trust. And guess what? Most of them aren't at the public banks. So they are trying to weasel their money through these little private off-name banks. But they're not doing it through the off-man. They're not doing it through the offshore Cayman. They're not doing it through the offshore Bermuda. When we go to the crypto conferences and we talk to the people that are at the Bermuda and saying, look, when you come over to our country, You got to set it up as a business. Oh, okay. That's fair to hear. And guess what? They're setting up the business with a business bank account. And guess what? The business has a card that you can swipe anywhere in the world because it's a MasterCard. See, that's the difference. That's the difference in conversation that we have with the people on the phones when they click the like button. Because when it comes to people talking about this crypto, if you're doing crypto, they're already see how is crypto we go let's go there. How is crypto private when the crypto doing they doing the KYC? It's called know your customer. So when they do the KYC, most of the Americans, most of them not in trust. Most of them are not running it through a business. So most of the Americans, they putting their residence address on there. What you gonna put your business address on there? So you holding the crypto in your American name and your American residence address. That's what they doing. Y'all think we don't know what's going on out here? We know what's going on out here. So so how is it private when you giving up all your private information to the entity, to the internet, to the public ledger? Remember, it's a public ledger. It's not a private ledger. It's a public ledger. Why? It's a public transaction. See, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the government loves it because it brings transparency. The private market does not like it because it does not truly convey privacy. It's public. It's supposed to be a public ledger. How is it private if it's a public ledger? And this is where the rubber meets the road. That's why the industry has not taken over because the private is not stupid. The private says we see a benefit for the technology, but the private does not see the benefit of their transactions being transacted and ledgered. Oh, what you mean? Hold on. The private doesn't like their transactions being ledgered? But do y'all can phone call in trustee training? Do we have to register the trust? Don't we have to register the trust somewhere? Isn't that a public trust then? It's registered in the public. It sounds like it's registered as a security because a trust will hold an asset, a security. So it's registered, holding securities, holding what? Assets. DIY trust documents, though, right? Oh, we created this new technology. It's a disruptive technology. You want to know why it's disruptive, ladies and gentlemen? And this is very quintessential. You heard it first here on the vault. We're right here in tune with the market. We're perceptual with the market. We understand the market. The reason why crypto or what you call blockchain is a disruptive technology. One, because it's a contract, just like what you would call the DIY trust document. Somebody can create a crypto coin, some type of algorithm out of nowhere in their basement. They're creating a code, they're creating a contract between the begin writer and the end reader. That's simple. So, bam, we get into this marketplace now where the blockchain itself is supposedly a disruptive technology. It being a disruptive technology, meaning that if it's gonna do something such as take the private transactions and make them more visible in the public. See, people don't know money. Most of the population. They say, "Oh, we hear about the Federal Reserve. We don't know about the central bank." We heard about the Federal Reserve. We heard about the central bank. We don't know that that's not the government. We heard about the Federal Reserve. We heard about the central bank. But we don't know about the government and who creates the money because we heard about the Federal Reserve and we heard about the central banks. Smart contracts. We need transactions now in the private, in the public. Sort of like you taking pictures of your baby and putting them on the internet. There's no privacy for your kid. It's like you giving them a social security number. They didn't choose that. You did, as the parent. DIY trust documents. Who created the trust? When you base the trust. But let's stick to this crypto thing. Well, why is this a disruptive technology? We're going to stay on it because we talk to them. That's why it's not nothing. Oh, it's a $1 billion industry. How much money you got in it? Hold on, let's say it again. It's $1 billion trillion industry. Trust Christian in the vote. Crypto and it's a how is it a fugazi when all these people are doing conferences and people say they're living off it? How many people of your friends or family members bought a house off of it yet? Facts. Oh no, nah, I know some of those young guys. You know some of those young guys, right? Right. Fancy cars and all this stuff, right? Right. They're able to do all that stuff. How they able to do all that stuff? They're able to do all that stuff because are they doing something with it? Remember, can you buy a house with it? Can you buy a car with it? DIY trust documents. See, they tell you go into crypto. They tell you go into blockchain. But did you buy a house with it? Did you buy a car with it? But we supposed to get rid of the hold on, we supposed to get rid of the green paper. You supposed to take your green paper, the inflationary paper, right? Because this is inflationary, right? Hold on. But the other one not inflationary. Hold on. But it looks like that one doing something over there too. It's not just going straight up, because nothing goes straight up, but that's what they try to tell you. Oh man, hold on. It's gonna go up and it's gonna go down, but it's never really gonna go all the way down. Oh wow. So now they're saying this is money. So it's like the dollar. Oh, okay. It's like the dollar, but it's less of it. Okay. So people want to buy it for asset purposes. That's fine. Disruptive technology, they're buying it as a money, they supposedly just said. But when we talked about it in the beginning, they didn't say it was a money in the beginning. Let's get the likes up. Like it. That's all you got to do. Let us know y'all appreciate what we're talking about. Because when it comes down to it at the end of the day, if you out here thinking that, oh, I need to go into a trust because Trust Christian and the Vault says so, what is this? People contact, I'm going into the trust because I know I need a trust. But do you have the assets? Do you study and put the time in? They'll reach out, they'll get the consultation, and they'll say, oh man, I don't even know if I got the time to study. How do you not have the time to study for your private family estate? That's why they're doing DIY trust documents. That's why they're doing DIY trust documents. DIY trust documents, right? Think that's going to be the solution? You're going to do the chief ski. You trying to do something for generational wealth. Then $3,000. That's a lot of money to me, man. You know what I mean? That's a lot of money. Oh, we talking. Let's go there tonight. We gonna go there. Oh, we gonna go there. 5,000. Let's go. $5,000, man. $5,000. Come on, Trust Christian in the Vault. $5,000. Trust Christian in the Vault. Now, Trust Christian in the Vault. Y'all going to ultra high net worth investor conferences where you have to have millions of dollars. $5,000. Trust Christian in the Vault. That's going to take us some months to save, because we don't even have that in our savings right now. But then you get the investors, high net worth investors say, how much does it cost? Let us know. We need a training. Our family needs a sit down session. When can you fly in and sit down with us? I mean, what is the perspective of a student mentality? See, we want to talk about that at the vault. That's what you come into the vault. When you come into trustee training, you're coming into trustee training, education, continuing education program, business management education program tools, family management tools for communicating from the first generation to second generation and beyond. Because what happens, and you'll see that very quickly happening, especially in your family, if you ever make it, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in this position already, is always going to be a disconnect. So you see the mentality's different. You see a privileged mentality come along, not necessarily privileged like they have to be privileged, but you see them with a mentality of, oh, we are this. So if the family is entrepreneurs, we are entrepreneurs. We've been entrepreneurs. We live entrepreneurship. We live investorship. Or we live merchantship. Whatever it is, when we live artistry, whatever it is, they are living it for multiple generations now. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listening to replay. We're working on our next workshop. We got it coming up in August. Y'all gonna see the flyer posted off in the chat here in the next week or so. We're gonna definitely do some pop-up episodes. We got an episode that it's always gonna come across the Vault training table. Why? Cause you get people. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna bust the bubble because the facts is the facts. The fact is, the lawyer's gonna hop on the phone with Trust Christian in the Vault. Yeah, the lawyers. They got their trust documents, but they reaching out to the Vault. Why they reaching out to the Vault, y'all? Because they understand what IP is. They understand what intellectual property is. They understand that they need to learn something just as a continuing education. Not because, oh man, you know, I I I, I can't believe he got something I ain't got. It's not always that he got something I ain't got. It's not always that. It could be okay. This individual sounds very erudite in what is it that they're doing. I'm going to engage. I'm going to make it a point to find out what is the engagement fee. So what happens is, you see, in these environments, people find out what the engagement fees is. Think about it. A lawyer went to school through 3, 4, 5+ years. So these individuals, of course, they want intellectual property. See, this is the issue. Poor people, and when we talk about poor people, we're talking about their mindset. See, broke is some financial stuff. Poor is your mindset. That's honestly. Are you? How is your mindset towards a situation? Do you have a student mentality of, I need as much information as I possibly can have on the subject? See, when you talk to the greats of industry, people have paid for information. Why do you go to law school? Because you're paying for the information to practice the law. So how you gonna practice trusteeship? You got to enroll in trustee training. You got to enroll in a training program that's going to train you just like we got trained. How you going to go from a poor mindset where your family is not even first generation, second generation asset managers? You're the first gen. Who's going to start it? You? How you going to start it from scratch? We got another episode for you about starting from scratch. How you going to start it from scratch? How you starting it from scratch? You got a public school education. How you gonna start it from scratch? Oh man, Trust Christian in the Vault. Look, look, I'm on the internet, man. I'm hungry for the information. I'm a millennial. I'm not just a millennial. I'm younger than a millennial. I'm like 24, 25. I'm like 23, 22 in 2022. In 2022, I'm 22. I'm hungry for the information. I'm not messing with these old heads. They didn't try to give me the information. No one just gave me the information. I had to study. I was Googling the words. I Googled it. I was like you, Trust Christian involved. I was reading the Black's Law Dictionary. I was reading I was reading Blackstone's dictionary. I was reading Barron's financial dictionary. I was reading accounting words. I was reading the gap principles, for accounting, because I was going into business. I had to learn accounting. Why? I had to learn the accounting language. Why? So I can talk to the accountant. I had to learn the gap so I could talk to the accountant. I needed to know what these financial terms was. So when I'm talking to my accountant, they're not jipping me out of money. I heard all these successful people get checked out of money. So what is anybody to put it past me? How am I getting the max benefit? Am I getting average results or am I getting above average results, my accountant? But I don't even know because I don't know a good accountant from a bad accountant, Trust Christian in the Vault. I don't know a private accountant from a public accountant, Trust Christian in the Vault. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the right guidance. See, are you looking for a board Are you looking for somebody to steal and peddle the information like the rest of these gurus on the internet trying to sell you an internet marketing course? Oh man, we're going to sell you a marketing course so you could build a sales funnel and you could be out here building a sales funnel and build up a following. Oh man, hey, do what you got to do. Huh. But the DIY trust documents, can you go international? You know, almost operating in one state to the next. Can you go from one state to the next? Oh man, trust Christian vote. You talking to me like that tonight, like that. So you telling me if I open up a trust in Louisiana, I might have an issue operating in another state? Or if I have a trust and I'm operating in another state and I try to do some business in Louisiana because I got some family there, I want to buy some land there or whatever it is there, I got to think about the fact that the law in Louisiana is different than another state. Because I did my DIY trust documents. I didn't even have a board, a lawyer, someone to sit around and ask them that one question. I ain't even got a lawyer to sit around. Trust Christian Val, you be giving out free game. So we want to make sure that we are giving out the free game. So hit the like button. That's all you got to do. Let us know that you appreciate it. Because we understand when we was 22, and it wasn't in 2022, but we was 22, we didn't even know about the trust. When we was 25, we didn't know about the trust. We started hearing about it, but we didn't really know. And then when you get a little bit older, and then how many people are, and they hear about it now? Oh, but I'm a do the documents myself, cause I googled it and I seen some guy on the internet peddling the documents, peddling these manuals. Oh, they go peddling the manuals now. What happened was, when we started the vault, we already had a podcast going on, and you know, it was one of those things that the vault was doing workshops. We've done workshops with families for years, and we saw that there was a discrepancy in the marketplace. A lot of families, once again, that's Christian at trustchristian.com. We're gonna have a flyer posted up here on the actual YouTube here soon. So just be protect the email. Feel free if you're on the email list, just feel free to email over. If you're not, just know we'll email you when that time comes around. We have quite a few people on our email list. This is going to be a wide open one. We're going to do a public one. We're not even going to do a major private trust workshop or financial workshop. We're going to open the doors up. We're going to blow the doors out every time. We always sell out. So we're going to go ahead and do like hundreds of people at this one. We already know what type of operation we got going on. It's going to be in an easy location too. So DIY trust documents. A lot of people, they're looking for the truth. They reached out to the vault, and we had workshops, and families come in with their children. Sure, quite a few people actually probably this time come around with their kids. People probably bring their children around since we post the past 2 years. So it's gonna be a good thing, ladies and gentlemen. This next workshop, but one of the things we see is a lot of people come around with this whole DIY trust document. A lot of people, we've had people reach out from the Moors. A lot of the Moors reach out. They be PO'd. Like, oh man, they say they got a trust for the nation, and then how come they got a trust for the nation, but they don't allow us to know who's on the trust documents, who's the grantor, who's the beneficiary. They told me my children can't even be on the beneficiary. They told me that the temples what is it, the temple's gonna hold the trust property and all this other stuff. These are the lies people are told throughout the internet. Instead of focusing on your own family, people out here trying to be a part of some nation, some so-called sovereign movement. Oh, if I what they say, I'm gonna put myself in trust. Y'all want to go there tonight? DIY trustees have called the vault, have reached out to the vault. DIY trustees, here we go. We're about to drop this gem. Go ahead and hit the like button if you haven't hit the like button yet. The DIY trustees will reach out and say, I'm gonna put myself in a trust. Trust Christian the vault. How can I put myself in a trust? How am I gonna put myself in a trust? How you gonna put yourself in a trust document that you created? How you gonna put yourself in a trust because you got your all caps name and the all caps name is a trust? Oh, I'm gonna put my name inside of the trust, and that's my DIY trust because the government, the DIY trust was created by you. The government didn't even give you the document. You got a document, but the government got the document and they didn't show it to me, so I created my own document. So now we got two different separate original documents. Does that make any sense? Do you hear the asinine mentality? The government has a document supposedly that you're the trustee over, supposedly, for these people that are doing this stuff. Oh, the government has this trust name, and I'm the trustee over the government name. You're the trustee over the government name, right? Right. No, you're not, because there is no government name. It's just a name. We seen something earlier today about, oh, is it okay to do business in your name? What difference does it make? Do people have Ford is named after Ford? Is that a bad idea? No. But you see, you got these people that are marketers over the internet that want to market you some BS. They want to market you to buy the little $39 course or the little $100 rinky dink course. The little rinky dink. It's rinky dink. They got people out here pushing a $40,000 course to learn how to. Y'all ready for this? You would think that, okay, they gonna make you a millionaire if you pay them $40,000 to do the course. You come through the vault's not making you anything. The vault doesn't make any of those type of promises. It's trustee training. Do you hear the difference? But do you see? Oh, they have to give you the promise to pay. The promise to pay is when you pay, they gonna make you a promise that you gonna make some money, right? Right. No, the vault shows you a clear explanation of legal, lawful ways that you are going to engage with the system with lawyers and accountants and handle your affairs. How many people out here talking about that? See, we know what the vault, what we're pioneers in. Here we go. So this is one of those things. We're gonna tell a quick story. The best way to teach is actually telling stories, whether y'all know that or not. So we're gonna tell y'all a little story. Appreciate everybody for tuning in live, listen to replay. If you like it, just feel free to hit the like button. We're gonna be bringing a lot more to y'all coming up here soon. So let's just go ahead and get into it. Here's a quick story. So we had a business partner, and we growing with this business partner. It's early in the business. Probably about like 27 years old, 28 years old in the business. And, this business partner is maybe like senior 35, 36 plus, 37 actually plus at that time, actually 37 plus. And we're engaging in this trust information. We're out here like, okay, we understand that there's a difference between public and private. We're in the same position that you all are as a listener right now. So we like, okay, we know we need to get this information. We know we need this information. This information is the difference maker because we already have been through the ringer. We've been through business. We've been through it for years. Obviously, when you've been in business, for 5+ years, you've been in business. You made it over that hump. So you've been in business. So bam. So the business partner's like, okay, bam, we're in trust at this point. We already invested into the information. We already invested into the mentors. But now you want to get squirrely. Now you want to act like a spider monkey. Now you want to act like you poor. You want to know what that means? That means you forget that the way you get the private information is through mentorship. The way you get the private information is by some private person giving you the welcoming hand, the welcoming arm into it, because they got to show you how to operate properly in the international jurisdictions in a proper manner. So, business partner like, nah, man, for the next phase of our training, for the private foundation, because somebody typed into the foundation. This is the foundation information. We talking about the foundation information. Somebody typed in about the foundation. So we talking about it. So a lot of people try to cut the corner on the foundation, the last element of the training. Oh man, I'm gonna cut the corner on the training because I'm gonna do it the 5 whatever they want to call it. Okay, but we have a system we learned from the mentors. But we gonna tell you about what the business partner wanted to do at the time. The business partner at the time when they first heard it, they got a little squirrely, which is weird because we were already invested in the mentors education system. So bam, they said, hey, you know what? We going we can do this. We can put together the private foundation on our own because we know what it takes. Okay, that's fair. So bam, we leave the mentors company because we were in the mentors company. We we're supposed to be basically sticking with the mentors. Cool. So or the trainers. So bam, this is how it goes. 30 days later, this is 30 days later from us knowing that we want to do this decision together. 30 days later, we ain't nowhere. Business partner ain't found that information. It takes, because that's what it takes sometimes. Sometimes you got to invest in the information because you're investing in the relationships. So bam, bam. Guess what? By 90 days, that means 3 months. That's how fast the decision was made. But how fast are you making those type of decisions? So we making that type of decision. Bam, we make that type of decision. In 90 days, we're on it. We're not even waiting anymore. Why? Because we didn't get it. We didn't get it on our own. We didn't get it on our own. Did you hear what we just said? DIY, trust documents. We didn't get it on our own. So the mentors, we went back to them. We wasn't groveling on our knees, but we went back to the mentors. And we went back and they went back. We went back and welcome arms. They went back. They had welcome in arms when we went back to them, at the end of the day. So the mentors were wanting to educate us. And, that's what we felt at the time they wanted to. At the same time, they were. When it comes to, you know, the mentality that you have when you have the student mentality. See how that works? That's the student mentality. That's not the area. Oh man, blah blah. That's the student mentality. Oh man, trust Christian involved. I don't know what I gotta do, but I gotta be at that workshop. We always gonna make what we're doing this for over here. Whether people want to know it or not. It's always gotta have a purpose to something. We used to hear that all the time. Well, what's the purpose of it? Clearly, we got a purpose because we used to get people reaching out to the vault, regardless of doing the trustee training. People will reach out to the vault and say, we got our own trust documents. We don't know what we're doing. That's the bottom line. But you need the training. People saying the training is a little informal. It's not just like a book. First of all, we set you at ease when you come to training. We talk to the mentors. We asked the mentors back in the day, give us a paper test. There was no paper test when we were sitting in the room. We asked the mentors for the paper test. There is no paper test. The test is you live in trusteeship. Are you going to manage your life as a business or are you going to be out here doing it personally? DIY trust documents. That's all it comes down to. Are you managing the life as a business? The family business? Oh, I got to put my name inside a trust. You know what I'm saying? I got to put my name in a trust. Look, hey, Trust Christian Vault. Look, this is the question we got within the past 2 weeks of a consultation. This is a question. Hit the like button. This is a question. This is a question. Trust Christian Vault. How we put our body in a trust? Can we put our body in a trust? Trust Christian Vault. Can we put our body in a trust? Can you put you want to know, you know on the license in the United States, how they ask you if you're an organ donor on the back? Whose property is it if they get their hands on it first? You know what that means, right? So, once again, can you put your body in a trust? Hit the like button if you want to ask that question. Hit the like button if you want to answer to that question. Oh man, can I put my body in a trust? I'm going to put my body in a trust, right? We don't have tattoos. Y'all know what that would mean. That's such a bad insinuation to say I'm going to put a tattoo on a body and put it in a trust. Not to say that that's bad,
But the insinuation, if y'all know historically what that means, insinuating. But hold up. Just like we can describe dirt, does your body turn into ashes? Yes. So it's kind of like dirt, right? Right. So do they actually have ways to calculate dirt? Yes. Like acres in retrospect to other things? Yes. DIY trust documents, though. I'm trying to put my body in a trust. Trust Christian, I'm trying to put my body in a trust. For what? Because I don't want nobody to ever have access to my body. Because I'm not trying to have my body pay for a debt. Oh, you're not trying to be a surety. You're not trying to hold a bond. How you think you ever get attached to anything? Because you signed for it. It's a signature bond. Oh man, I don't believe in signatures. DIY trustee, DIY trust document creators. That's what those people are. You know what that's called? Keeping your word. And we're in that age, you gotta keep your word. But but hold on, trust Christian involved. DIY trust documents. I never was trained on keeping my word. I was never trained. You gotta be trained on keeping your word? Yeah, because there's a thing called lying. DIY trust documents. Do I know everything I need to know about the law? No. So how can I draft something up that I don't even know all the law about? Well, because it's a private trust document, trust Christian in the vault. It's a private trust document. What you mean? I could do it. You said it's private, right? It's private. I could come up with the 508, see whatever they got typed into the chat. I could come up whatever I want. Look, somehow trust Christian in the vault. I'm private, right? Right. But I'm going to go use a public law. I'm going to go use a public legislative law to state my position. I'm not just going to stand on the document because I'm private. Because see, in the private fund, they standing on a track record of the managers. And the public is based off the public board, the public law, public restrictions. Y'all know the difference between public and private. But then when it's really acted out in life, does it look different between business and personal? Similar. Public and private. Business and personal. One's business, one's personal. DIY trust documents talking about the state. There's people creating trust documents because they want to discharge a debt. Oh man, trust Christian Law, you ain't have to go there tonight or today, wherever you are in the world. You ain't have to go there. Oh, they trying to create a trust from the government. Remember, remember how we talked about this somewhere in the episode where we said, what is it? Is the government? There's the Federal Reserve, and then there's a central bank. Y'all know the difference, right? Countries have, right. The DIY trust documents looks like that. It may not be the government bank, but it's looking like the other ones. It's interesting to see the population and how people think they're gonna come into the private for the cheap ski. Oh man, I'm gonna do it on my own. Yeah, I could do your research on one of the oldest trusts that was ever in the United States, still around to this day. People are willing to adhere to these type of thought processes. Obviously, when you talk about common law, or you talking about law in general, or you talking about trust being passed down from generation to generation. That dealing with a family hierarchical system that traditionally comes from England. It does come from other parts of the world, but England has colonized a lot of the world. They use that family value system throughout the world for perpetuating wealth from one generation to the next by utilizing those family assets, family entities. Still see it to this day. You see the Robert Morris Trust, one of the oldest trusts in the United States. Robert Morris Trust. They probably changed the name a few times. Remember, it's a person. But guess what? It never dies. Think about it. Do you know how to make sure? Think about it. A trust may hit the like button. We appreciate everybody hit the like button because we have to drop the jewel. A trust may never die. That's true. The trust never dies. But it does have a lifespan. Why? Because you got a lifespan. Everything has a lifespan. Corporations, that's why they have to renew the corporation every year. Because it has a lifespan. It's good to have something have a lifespan so it can do a form of what they call what? Accounting at the end of the year. So whether it's every 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 50 years, however long, there's a lifespan. It's not indefinite. But how many people know that? How many people really do business that way and say, man, I know this entity has to have a lifespan. So whoever comes in, they're going to have to do an account at one point in time.